Our first segment of the day, as always, is Thursday's White House press briefing, where Karine Jean-Pierre is questioned on gun control once again. Now, what you see on your screen here is Wednesday's White House press briefing that we covered in yesterday's episode, where she was questioned on gun control, and the question came in the form of, hey, here's conservative and Republicans debate, basically saying there's so many firearms already out there in the United States, it's not really feasible to put in a semi-automatic weapons ban or an assault weapons ban, of which they're calling it. It's not realistic. We're going to hear her response. And the reason why I want to play this again is it plays into the question that we're going to hear from Thursday's White House press briefing, or in other words, yesterday. And then hearing her response is completely insane. So let's hear this one from Wednesday, and then we'll jump into Thursdays. Let's go ahead and roll it.
I want to ask you a question about guns and get your response to some of the arguments that Republicans are making now about the push to ban semi-automatic weapons. One of the things they're saying is that there are 25 million of these devices out there in circulation in the homes of millions of Americans, and therefore you can't ban them. What's the president's response to that?
That's unacceptable. That's our response. It's unacceptable that Republicans are saying that there's nothing that we can do.
Hold on to that, okay?
Our schools, our churches, our places of worships have now become deadly places for many Americans who have lost their lives just this past year. So I asked Republicans, what are you going to say to the families in Nashville at this elementary school who lost their loved ones? 3 kids, 3 adults, 3 9-year-olds. Is that what they're going to say to them, that there's nothing else that we can do? You're going to say that to the Uvalde families, the parents? There's nothing else that we can do? You're going to say that to the people in Buffalo, in that grocery store on a Saturday, doing what many Americans do on a Saturday across the country, that there's nothing that we're going to do? Republicans in Congress need to show some courage. And if they had courage, they would be introducing legislation on on banning assault weapons today. That's what they would be doing today. And we know.
Okay, so you heard that, right? She's basically saying, well, there's nothing we can do in terms of what Republicans are saying, which isn't the truth. And we covered that on yesterday's episode, where I literally said, well, we don't have to remove semi-automatic firearms from the hands of law-abiding citizens that have the right to bear arms. We don't need to do that. We could just put armed guards in schools all across the United States. And that is literally what's being proposed here. So here's the question from Thursday's White House press briefing, meaning yesterday, where this question is being proposed. Listen to her response here, because she just got done grandstanding saying, is that what you're going to tell the victims, that you don't have anything, that you have nothing proposed, that we got nothing? So here's her response to all this.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Karine. So earlier you mentioned your opening statements, Republicans not taking any action when it comes to gun violence. Well, I know the president talked to Senator Blackburn earlier this week. We got an email today saying that Senator Blackburn's introducing the Safe School Act with the other Tennessee senator. Bill establishes a $900 million grant program that will allow both public and private schools to train and hire veterans and former law enforcement officers to protect schools.
Man, where did we hear that idea from? Probably about 48 hours ago or 24 hours ago. Oh, we heard it here on the Bald Brad Show. That was literally the idea that I proposed, of saying, rather than throwing billions of dollars, hundreds of $billions around the globe to all these other nations, why don't we figure our-ish out here first, hire some armed guards for every school and every school district, and we'll at least be somewhat okay. This is what's being proposed here, but we were just told that Republicans don't have any ideas. They don't know what to do. We should just ban assault weapons. Listen to her response, you guys.
Administration have a stance on that?
I'm going to be very clear here. The president has said over and over again, look, let me even step back a little bit further. We have done 24 executive orders in the past 2 years. This president has, to do everything that he can to protect communities and our kids. And as we know, we can't do it alone. The president is limited on this, so we need Congress to act. And the things that we know are very popular, that it will actually assist or help prevent gun violence, is one of them is banning assault weapons, right? That we know for a fact. When it was done in 1994, for those 10 years, gun violence went down. And when that law sunset, it rose back up again. So we know.
Folks, she's not answering the question. It just we'll continue here in just one moment. They're so tunnel visioned on wanting I should say, not just tunnel vision, but hell-bent on removing your firearms. It is insane. Completely just not even listening to the question about offering solutions other than taking law-abiding citizens' firearms through a banning policy that's not going to solve the issue at all, because you're going to still have criminals that are going to commit crimes, whether that's obtaining a firearm illegally or not, still going to go commit that crime. So now you got a bunch of people that want to protect themselves are not able to protect themselves anymore because you just screwed them over, but you benefited the criminals. But they are so hell-bent on removing your firearms and literally going door to door to do so. It is insane. But let her continue here, and the reporter actually catches on that she doesn't answer the question.
What works, and that's why we've been calling. The president has been calling for the assault weapons ban, and this is something that Republicans won't move on. And not just that, there's other common sense gun laws reform, requiring background checks on all gun sales, requiring safe storage of guns, eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on the streets. These are weapons of war. Weapons of war, they should not be in our community.
There's already background checks. For anybody that's purchased a firearm, there's already background checks. A lot of people, I don't know about different states as far as what the regulation is, but a lot of states, you have to have this stuff locked up. If you're traveling with it, you have to have it locked up. I know in the state of California, hell, we have to have locks on everything. You got to have a lock on the gun. You got to have a lock on the bag. You got to have a lock on your safe. I mean, the thing is triple locked. So by the time you're getting robbed, you're going to get your ass kicked because the thing's locked up. You're not going to be able to use it. That's for another video. But to give these weapons of war and put them on the streets, I mean, what does that even mean? If you legally obtain the firearm through a background check, then yeah, maybe it'll wind up on the street, but the vast majority of people just have it at home to protect themselves or go hunting with, even though that's not what the Second Amendment's proposed or used for, is for hunting. It's not what it is there for, but I know it's what Democrats are going to push, which, by the way, again, we talk about all the nonsense in my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. They have this indoctrination, this ideology that is crippling our country from the inside out, and you're seeing it in real time right here, literally wanting to shave and remove away your Second Amendment right. Let her continue here because, like I said, the reporter's going to catch her in which she didn't answer his question, so he proposes it once again.
They should not be in our schools. They should not be in streets. So that's what we're calling for. We're calling for actual real solutions here, real solutions that we actually know work and majority of Americans support.
But is more funding for school security guards a solution that you would consider?
Look, the president signed the Safer Communities Act, right? This summer, it was a bipartisan piece of legislation, and even when we celebrated signing that, when the president.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, that you should support it, but they're so hell-bent on removing semi-automatic firearms, going door to door and confiscating them, that they're completely dodging the question. This is insane. They want to chisel away at your Second Amendment right.
President celebrated signing that into law. He actually said we need to build on that and do more. So yes, we need to do more, but we know what needs to happen. Banning assault weapons is one of the clearest ways. That's what the data shows us, that we can get weapons of war off the streets, and that's what we're asking for. Go ahead, Ariel.
You're not getting them off the streets, though. This is what they're completely missing, and I don't know if it's intentional or they're just that dumb. You think criminals are just going to just readily stand in line and hand over their firearms, whether that's an actual ban or a gun buyback program? You think they're just going to sit there lined up, ready to go? It's the law-abiding citizens, the ones that follow the law, that are probably going to do that. And honestly, I hope that people don't. I hope they don't sit there and turn in their firearms, bury it in the dirt or something so the government doesn't know about it. I mean, it is insane, like I said in yesterday's episode, that you have the federal government openly saying they want to sit there and confiscate your firearms. I mean, like I said, the founders are rolling in their graves over this stuff, and they're just doing it nonchalantly, like it's not a big deal. Yeah, we want to take your guns. Oh yeah, folks, if you just had to guess, if the government takes your firearms, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of your rights? Because if you don't have that Second Amendment right, how are you going to protect and make sure that you have those other rights, or else the government will just chisel away and remove those as well because you don't have anything to defend yourself with? You're at the beginnings of basically some scary stuff here with the government just naturally talking about this stuff. But something was proposed, which you just saw in yesterday's episode. She said that Republicans didn't have any solutions, so they proposed a pretty damn good solution, by the way. A way better solution than removing one of your rights that have been enshrined in the Constitution, a God-given right of just saying, hey, why don't we just put armed guards, veterans, guys that need jobs, we can support our vets. They'll gladly stand there and protect our children all day, and they get paid for it. Why don't we do that instead of doing this other thing, which doesn't actually solve the problem? And I would also like to point out, armed guards don't actually solve the problem either. Somebody could still come on campus and shoot up the place, but at least you got somebody there that's shooting back and not waiting 14 plus minutes for cops to arrive. And I'm not hounding the cops for what they did in Nashville. They did a phenomenal job, but 14 minutes is a long time. At least you got somebody there that can act within seconds and at least pin the guy down or girl down or whatever the hell they're going to be. Because now you got trans people coming in and shooting up schools everywhere. So, let me know. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Would you let the government show up at your doorstep and remove your guns? Would you turn them in if there was a gun buyback, or if there was a program saying, hey, we're banning all semi-automatic firearms, you guys sit there and turn your weapons in? Would you guys actually do it? Maybe don't write that in the comment section, because if it happens, they'll probably track you. But you know what I mean. Just support what the president's doing. Just leave us a comment down below. The integration and you interact with the channel is what YouTube's looking for, because Lord knows they're shadow banning us. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.